Hi guys, this is going to be a June wrap up. Not positive I'm going to finish the book that I'm reading today. This is my initial wrap up. Might include one more book. I read 12 books this month, which is pretty good because I had a reading lull, which I say every month. I guess I just go 4 or 5 days every month where I don't read. I guess my mind needs a break. So, the first book I read in June was The Haunting of America. Told all kinds of different stories about the Salem witch trials to Harry Houdini to the interest in astrology and psychics in America, and it was all kinds of different chapters and things like that. And it was pretty good. The second book I read was The White Glove War. This is the second book after Magnolia League. I really thoroughly enjoyed both of those books. If you haven't read them, I don't know what you're waiting for. They're really interesting and very unique. The third book I read was The Sister of Isis #1, The Summoning. I started this series kind of branching off the Daughters of the Moon series. They're both written by Lynn Ewing, and it tells the story of girls that were they're Egyptian goddesses, and they each have different powers and the ability to transform to an animal, and they're really good. The fourth book was Born Wicked, which is the first book in the Cahill Chronicles, I believe it is. That book was good as well. Maybe not as good as the two that I previously just mentioned, but it's still worth a read. Wow, I read a lot about witches this month. Why do you watch this, guys? The fifth book I read was Sisters Insanity by Gail Forman, and that book was really good too. It was about a girl that was having some trouble adjusting to a new family, stepmother and brother. She is sent to an institution, and it comes to be that it's kind of corrupt, and the girls kind of form an alliance that they can't make clear to the workers there because they might catch on to them, and it was really, really good. The sixth book, I continued with the Sister of Isis series. The number 2 book, which is The Divine One, was just as good. Definitely wanted to keep reading from there. The seventh book I read was the Book of Bizarre Lists. I just read a really big bizarre list book. It was kind of like a beach read, all kinds of different bizarre things in the world. I love reading list books and trivia. It's really fun. The eighth book that I read, I didn't complete entirely, and it's Carnival of Souls by Melissa Marr. I have a really hard time reading her writing. I never was able to read the Wicked Lovely series. I could not read it. There's something about her writing, to me, is so stale, and I just think it drags on. The ninth book I read was Divergent by Veronica Roth. It was very good. It was a nice change for the month after I read all kinds of magic and witches and such. And it was really good, so I look forward to reading Insurgent. The 10th book I read was The Ballads of Suburbia. Once again, it was a realistic fiction book telling the story. It had drugs and alcohol and angst and some dramatic things, and it was really enjoyable. The 11th book I read was The Sisters of Isis #3, Enchantress. This was my favorite book of the 3 that I read this month of that series, and I'm really eager to read the final book, the 4th one. Can't remember the title right now, but I'll definitely be reading that in July. And the last book that I just reviewed for you guys was Scars by Cheryl Rainfield, and it was once again another realistic fiction book, a girl that was sexually abused as a child. She couldn't remember who it was that abused her. The abuser taught her how to self-mutilate, and she continued on. Well, she started doing it when she started remembering memories from the trauma, and it ends up really coming together in an interesting way. So those are the 12 books that I read this month, and I am 200 pages into Tilt by Ellen Hopkins. Sorry for the glare. This is a library book, so it has that plastic. This is a companion or something to Triangles by Ellen Hopkins, which I believe I read last month. Yes, the beginning of last month. And so I'm not sure if I'm going to finish this today. I have like 400 pages, but those books go really fast because they're written in verse and there's not a lot on a page. So if I do finish it, I'll add it to my list, but I'm not sure if I'm going to finish that, probably in the morning. And then I'm going to go on to Grim Legacy and Before I Fall, and then I'll probably read The Sisters of Isis #4. So I kind of have a schedule, which I think helps you stay on track if you know what you're reading next. It makes you kind of read faster, maybe? I don't know. So I've said in an announcement, I believe it was a couple months ago, that I was aiming to read 100 books this year, which is pretty easy for me. I should have maybe made it a little more difficult, but the beginning of the year, I really didn't read a lot. January, I read, I think, like 5, and then February 4, and then March I picked up. So as of halfway through the year, the end of June here, I've read 57 books now. I really put it into gear the last 3 months. So I'm 7 over my goal. So I'll be very surprised if I don't make this challenge, but I'm really eager to see how many I can actually read for the year. So tomorrow I will be posting my first best of, Jessica's recommends best of, whatever you want to call it, videos, and it's going to be the best witches / magic books, and I will continue that series this entire week for the July 4th week. It'll be really fun. And I also have a 2-book haul, an 11-book haul, not sure when they're going to come in, and then I will of course have a Tilt book review as well as the other books I'm reading. So there'll be a lot of content coming out for you guys, so stay tuned, go read something, and have a great rest of the weekend. Bye.